Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you're in. My name is Yogesh Kapoor. I am a communications coach, and I would like to welcome you all to the AHA Movement Sunday Live. And with me is my very good friend, my accountability partner, and Grace, so amazing. Grace, please tell us a little bit about yourself for the viewers who don't know who you are.
Alrighty, hello, hello, hello. It's a beautiful day here, and I'm happy to be doing this. You know how interesting it is how we come here every Sunday, and we do our thing, and then there's this feeling of satisfaction that I get every time we come on live. So yes, my name is Grace So Amazing. I am a physicist and a life coach, but most importantly, I am that person that loves to grow on a day-to-day basis. So you can just call me the lady with the growth mindset. And what we're doing right now is us, putting out the opportunity for us to keep growing, learning, and getting our ahas. Over to you, Yogesh Kapoor.
Thank you so much for that, Grace. When you said the word aha, exactly, why did we start the aha movement, right? Just as a reminder to all our audience, is because we want to have conversations where people listen to us and they have an aha moment. And sometimes that aha moment can extremely change your life, right? I've had so many aha moments and I'm like, oh my God. Like last week when we had Andrea as a guest, right? Every time she said holy shift. And I was like, oh, that's an aha moment for me, right? So, and we call it movement because we want to, change the world one step at a time. So for those of you who've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe and share this video with people. If you haven't had an aha moment, share it with people. You never know who has an aha moment and that could transform their life. And me and Grace, we've been on this journey for many, many years. I've been a speaker for 10 years, and Grace has been in the personal development field for many, many years. And like she said, we're growing, and at the same time, we feel it's kind of our calling to help people grow as well and develop as well. So every week we come up with a topic, and today's topic is very, very interesting because I think this is a topic that is like, there's a disease many people have. It's called a lack mindset. So the only way to abolish that is to cultivate a abundant mindset, which is the topic of this week. So Grace, I don't know. Do we want to like talk a lot about lack mindset first, or do we just get straight into the abundant mindset? What do you say?
In my mind, I would think it would be nice to focus on the abundance mindset so that as we unravel, if anyone has the scarcity mindset, it will be like an aha for them. Oh, so that's it, right? So I think we can focus on, the abundance mindset.
Perfect. So tell us, Grace, what do you do to cultivate abundance all the time, abundant mindset? What? Tell us a few things you do that, and how that has helped you change things in in your mind and in the way things manifest in your life. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, thank you so much. I love that question. Yeah, and the reason why this topic is very important and should be what we should, do on a day-to-day basis personally is because we are in a world where sometimes we are exposed to certain information that will take us back to what we used to practice or what we used to believe in. So I am glad you asked that question. And the first thing that just would come to my mind in terms of practicing the abundance mindset or cultivating the abundance mindset would be first and foremost, I talk a lot about nature and everything. So what I do is my ability to be grateful. So I there's something I do about gratitude that it has become like a normal practice where I am seeing that something is not happening, right? I start to focus on what I have. When I focus on what I have, I would start naming them. There's something in religion where they say count your blessings, name them one by one. So one practice in cultivating the habit of having that abundance mindset is, instead of focusing on things that you lack or things that you don't have, focus on the things that you have by being grateful. So the first thing I would say is, gratitude has a way of zooming into the things that we have in abundance. And that will start to shift your mindset from a place of lack to a place of abundance. So the first practice for me is that I am always, always grateful. And then there are days that I'll be like, but I don't have this. I need this. I need that. And then while I'm in that space, I will start to remind myself. And that's why it's very good to surround yourself with people that would encourage you, people that would help you learn, people that would help you build. You know, if you're watching us, please say so. I can see someone. You can drop in the comment section. Just let us know where you're joining us from, right? So what I usually do is I stay in that space of gratitude. And while I'm there, I will start to see things that I don't have. And I mean, that I have. And then those things that I don't have would be so tiny and insignificant that what I have will overshadow the things that don't have at that moment. So I'm going to throw that question back at you, Yogesh Kapoor. What do you have to say when it comes to cultivating the habit or the mindset of abundance?
First of all, I love what you said. Gratitude, I think, is the number one way of feeling abundant, right? Stop focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do have, right? And there's so many ways, like, sometimes um, I would I will tell myself, thank you to my heart, thank you to my fingers, thank you to my eyes, my tongue, my nose, my senses, right? My children, my wife, my mom, my sister, my brother. I'll start thanking the internet. I will start thanking so many things that are available to us. And you see people who don't even have the simplest of things available to them till today. Some people don't have water available to them. My God, they don't have clean air available to them. So, gratitude is the number one way. Another way is, sometimes um, you give things away. When you give things away, you feel abundant as well, right? It doesn't have to be something big. A lot of people have this mindset of, I gotta like donate $100,000 and that's how I'll feel abundant. No, you can do the smallest way. Like, the last week when we were speaking on our live, there's this lady I told you that always walks by and she has one leg and she's on her crutches and she's selling flowers. Yesterday again, she came towards me. I gave her the $20. She always tells me take the flower, and I say I don't need the flower. You can keep the flower. You can sell it to somebody else, and then I give her that. That makes me feel abundant. And I see she goes table to table, and nobody's responding to her. But I always, because I see that, oh my God, she has one leg. She has no excuses. She's doing something. When I give her that $20, that look on her face, like as if she's blessing me, and she's like, she puts her hand like out there. So you're like, oh, that makes me feel so abundant that I have $20 to give to her. And I'm sure everybody else on the table has $20 to give to her, but they choose not to because they have scarcity mindset. Like, why should I give $20? I don't want the flower. It's not about the flower. It's about just giving her so she can maybe have a day's meal, right? I mean, they're spending 500, 600 sitting on the table for a couple of hours, but they're not willing to give that $20. So that makes me feel abundant, right? I might be sitting there having a couple of drinks. That doesn't give me any abundance. That just lowers my vibration, you know. So instead, doing that makes me feel abundant. And you can feel abundant by giving things in small ways. Recently, I moved out of Indonesia and I moved my family out of Indonesia. So I had like a good 60, 70 books. So I donated most of them. I gave it away to like the Rotary Foundation because they built a library where students will come and see all these books. So that made me feel abundant because I knew I'm passing on knowledge, right? I mean, there's so many ways. When we were leaving Indonesia, I had like 20, 30 cartons of, my wife left her shoes and clothes and so many other things. And, she called one of the part-time maids we used to have before. That lady took all of it with her. We told her, take what you want, but she took all of it with her. And we are like, okay, never mind. That made us feel abundant. We were giving away all this stuff. So that's another way you can really feel abundant because you might have so much, which somebody else might not. So that's just one of the ways that makes me feel abundant. And that cultivates abundant mindset. So what about you, Grace? Anything else that cultivates abundant mindset?
Mentioning
You're
that
on mute.
because
Oh, okay, now,
no, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Thank you for mentioning it because that was going to be my next point, the ability to give. So today I said something and I'm going to share a very short story. When I was relocating, remember I moved from one city to the other city. So I moved from Lagos to Abuja. And when I was about to move, I wanted to change my car because I was coming to a new city. I wanted to buy something new. I wanted to buy a new car. But that period was we had a job that I was really relying on, for payment and everything and all of that. So that didn't happen. I didn't get paid. So, and my investment was just like everything went wrong that period. I wanted to move. I had to pay a lot of I had to spend a lot of money. I had invested. Remember, I had just resigned from my job and then we were involved in something that we needed to be paid. That didn't happen. And then everything just happened at the same time. So what I did at the time with the money I had was I decided that I was going to fix my car and then, you know, get that to the new city while I work harder to get a new car. And while I did that, I painted the car, I changed the engine, and I bought a new gear. I just I just refurbished the car. So at the time I was doing a training and then I went for my training. It was a physical class. I was in class and somebody called me that I parked, I was blocking a car, that I should come, reverse, remove my car so they could go out. And while I was in class, I didn't want to miss what the teacher was teaching. I now gave my key to somebody else to drive the car. That, you know what, just take it, just do it and then bring back the key. Almost 30 minutes later, I didn't hear from them, and I'm like, okay, what happened to my car? And then I went outside, and then I saw the car that I just refurbished shattered. It was shattered. Oh, yes, it was shattered. And for a split minute, for some minutes, I I felt blood rushing to my brain. Like I felt like I was going to pass out. I was, what the hell is this? You know, that split second changed my life till date. I realized that I'd attached so much. I was so attached to the material things that I almost lost my life just because my car was hit, and I just thought about how much I'd spent. Before insurance, before I could settle down to even think that okay, there's an insurance and all of that. For that moment, I just felt that I'd spent so much money and this shouldn't happen to me, and I felt sick to my stomach. Now, I promised myself that day that I wouldn't let anything, or I wouldn't attach myself to any material thing that will put me in a state of almost passing out. And that was when I started practicing detachment. Now, the reason why we are so attached to a lot of things that we don't want to let go, and we feel that when that thing goes, we are done for. There is nothing that's going to happen for us again, is coming from a place of scarcity. When we were younger, we were told that if you do this, I'll give you this, or if you pass your exams, you'd get this, or if you do, it was always about the material things I would get in return. And that has shaped our mindset. It has shaped our belief system to see that you are nothing without what you have materially. The abundance mindset is one that knows that there are infinite, infinite resources that never ends. So if you lose one right now, you might be in a position of, okay, what am I going to do now? It's an opportunity for you to think of the resources you have to help you get what you want. So I've been practicing the act of detachment. No matter how much I love a thing, I always ask myself, what if I lose this thing? What happens? I would say to myself, I would make it again. I will get another one. I'll get a brand new one. It's not easy. I'm not going to sit down here and tell you it's not easy. For someone that's very, there are certain things like, there are certain things that I have that I am so attached to. But after that incident, I told myself, big deal, big deal, big deal. So having an entrepreneurial mindset and knowing that, look, you could lose anything at any time, but you have the ability to replicate, you have the ability to multiply, you have the ability to connect to source. When you have all of these things put together, it will help you to understand that you are indeed cultivating the abundant mindset. So for me, I would say next is detaching from anything that will make you um, feel like your whole world is crashing when you don't have that thing.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned this one, practicing detachment, because, in the Indian Bible, right, it's called the Gita. They say there's a very important saying: you come with nothing, you go with nothing. Okay, whatever you make here, you're not going to take it with you anyways. Not You're not going to take it to your grave or to heaven or whatever people believe in, right? So I've seen the most successful people who have lost everything, but they rebuild it very fast because they're not attached to what they lost. They're not attached to that. They're like, it's okay, I can do it again, right? But too many people get stuck saying, oh my God, I lost this, I lost this, I lost this, I lost this, I lost this. And they're creating that vibration and that frequency of loss, 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 where they should be not attached to it. Okay. It's the same when it comes to meditation, right? Why do they say don't attach to the thought? Just let it flow, right? When you're meditating, you'll have thoughts, negative, positive, whatever. Just let them flow. Don't attach to it, you know? And it's very interesting how monks even say that, right? A lot of monks, they say that don't attach yourself to things, right? We're not attached to worldly desires, you know? I mean, detachment is so deep. It's so deep. And yes, of course, there's certain things that we get attached to, like family, all of that, right? But right now we're focusing more on the abundance point of view, where it comes to health and materialistic things and all. So it's so lovely what you said, right? Just never mind, right? I used to have two cars when I was living in Dubai, and one of them crashed, completely crashed, and it was this brand new one, right? And then it just crashed and it went to the junkyard. So at first I was like, oh my God, I lost the car. And I'm like, later I detached from it. I'm like, I can get another one. Like, never mind, right? So that is so powerful, that one, detachment. It's hard to practice though. It's not easy, right? We hold on to so many things, and but it's not easy to, but the sooner we realize that, because when we detach, something bigger might show up, right? Whenever something goes away from me, I always, before I used to feel upset, then I'm like, something bigger is meant for me, right? I let go of that because I know something bigger is coming my way, So I love that one, that of detachment. So we've already mentioned like three of them. So how many more can we come up with on cultivating an abundance mindset? I think one of them would be, I think one of them would be what I feel is also visualizing, right? A lot of people who are successful, who they foresee it in their head, right?
Yeah.
They see like, oh, I have everything in the world. I don't lack anything, right? I have the energy, I have the power, I can learn this. They see it in their head that they're abundant. They never visualize that they're, poor, or they don't have the resources, right? They have that abundant mindset, like, oh, this can be solved. This can be solved. This can be taken care of now, So how do you practice visualization, Grace? Because I know you're very good at that.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, I, visualization is, thoughts in pictures, just thoughts in pictures, right? And we think a lot. We have so many funny things going on in our heads. And I have over the years, I have visualized having a lot of things. And then I realized that some of those things that I visualized, I was able to get them. Some things that I visualized, I did not get them. So I started probing and I started asking myself certain questions. And then I realized that for every time I visualized about something, the more feelings I attach to it, the more energy I attach to it, the more consistent I am, is what results in the the actualization of that thing that I visualize. So I'm like, oh, so there is actually a way to visualize that is right. So there's some of these things that we throw out there. Most people know about it. Most people complain that it doesn't work for them. And then at some point, I was in that category of people that would say that, does this work? Until I realized that when I took my journal and I took some of the things that I wrote some years back, and I started looking at how I was able to tick some of them, I'm like, oh, it does work. But so how do I visualize? I make sure the picture is clear in my mind. I also make sure that I I give a period of consistency to it. I also make sure that I attach an emotion of receiving that particular thing. I don't just, visualize it in my head and then go to sleep. I visualize, and then here I can guarantee you that sometimes you would sway, but it's for you to catch it back and keep your focus on that thing that you want. And it's a practice that is easier said than done. Really, it's something that people would say that and isn't it just to have a picture of you traveling to a city in your head, and then it happened. No, ma'am. No, 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 ma'am. No, stars. That's not how it happens, right? So personally, I told myself I was going to travel to a particular country, and then I visualized myself in that country for one day. Yogesh, are you there?
I'm
It
there.
seems to be
Can you hear
rolling.
me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you now. All right. So I realized that when I visualized myself traveling to that country, I just saw myself, traveling. And then after a while, after that day, I just completely forgot about it. I didn't take it seriously anymore. I focused on other things. And I said, do I really want to travel? Am I sure? And, doubt, doubt and other little things can just come in the way. And that is the reason why sometimes when we visualize some things, we don't see it happen. So for me, I visualize and I make sure that I'm very consistent with that particular picture in my head, and then I would see the results for everything I put my mind to it, and I'm very keen and I attach that emotion of acceptance and not allowing any form of doubt to come sit in my head. It's a done deal. So visualization is another thing that would help you, see a big picture of how infinite the world is and how infinite the source is, and how we can always get what we want if we really, really need that thing.
Oh, I love that word. I love that word, infinite. I mean, when you really think about anything in life, it is an infinite, right? I mean, think about when the earth itself, we have infinite number of resources. We have the water, the air, the plants. And when people talk rubbish, when they say we don't have enough resources, we have 8 billion people on the planet. What are you talking about? We don't have enough resources, and population is growing. We have enough resources. 8 billion people. Can you imagine? 8 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot. We talk about millions of people in a city, but we have 8 billion people on the highest number of people ever on earth.
And I actually think we're more than that. I actually think we're way more than 8 billion people. I think we're
Well, yeah,
way more than.
couple, yeah, couple of percentage up and down. Many people maybe not accounted for, but can you imagine this one little earth, and majority of it is water, is actually holding space to 8 billion souls. Wow. When you think of that, that's like amazing, right? Look how abundant the earth itself is. Look how abundant the universe is, that in a small little planet, probably one of the smallest in the, Milky Way or galaxy or whatever you call it, as holding 8 billion people. That is like the best example of abundance. That is the best example of abundance, with so many different cultures, languages. I mean, every day people eat food, most of them at least, right? Where does all this come from if we weren't abundant, right? So it's just unbelievable. Like, even because I'm in China, right? We manufacture stuff. And when I see, every day there's so much number of packages being made. There's so much number of things being produced. And then we keep hearing, oh, we don't have enough trees. And I'm like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Everything is like, every day we use paper, we use this, we use that. Where's the lack? There's no lack here. In fact, in China, when they have an abundant mindset when it comes to food, because when the plates are empty on the table, they say, if the plate is empty, we will order more, because that means the guest is not full enough, even though the guest is full. And then they order, and a lot of the food does get thrown away, but they never think in lack. They think in abundance. Like, so what? No big deal. It's normal. So they have that abundant mindset when it comes to food. And the same China, like 70, 80 years ago, was starving. So you can imagine. Like, it's infinite. That's so true. That's so true. And another thing, what I also believe is, have you noticed every time there's a certain situation that happens in life where you think that there's never going to be enough, but somehow there's enough, right? Even though maybe you haven't visualized it, or you haven't had gratitude for it or whatever, somehow there is enough. And then you realize, like, you should realize by then that there is no lack. It's abundant, right? And if you accept that and you go with the flow, like you said, you're not detached. I mean, you're detached from everything, and all the practices that we've been talking about, it just flows. It just flows. So what
I
else would you
agree
like
with
to add
you.
to that, Grace?
Okay, so one other thing I would like to add is And I think that's where would kind of wrap it up. We can talk more about that. But before I bring the last point, what you just said about China, I heard it last week and I was like, interesting that when they are eating, it's a feast on the table. There's a lot on the table. And I think that's a very good, you know, way to help people. And it's buffet. So this is where I'm going to. So if you come to a typical party in Nigeria, you have buffets where people would come, get their food, and go back to their seats. They have varieties. You can, if whatever you want to eat, you can have it. Now, statistics or the data shows that every time there is a buffet, they have leftovers. Meanwhile, before now, they used to serve people. They would bring your plate, they will serve you in a plate and they'll just bring it to you directly. In that setting, you find that some people are anxious that, is the food going to get to me? Are they going to miss me or what? Hope, can you see me? Hey, I'm here. Make sure you serve me. Hey, I'm here. Don't leave me out of this. You see anxious people all around waiting to be served. How they are able to deal with that is introducing buffet. The buffet setting gives you an opportunity to get up from your seat and go get anything you want. And then when you come to the buffet, to the table, and then you see that you can have this, you can have this, you can have this, you end up having just little because you're like, you're already full with how many, I mean, different pots that you can see, and you're like, there's a lot here. And then giving them the opportunity to go and come back, you'd be amazed that they're not even able to eat half of what they would have eaten if they were served one by one. What that teaches us is there is what lack produces in our system in form of anxiety, like there's never going to be enough. In having that anxiety, you start to lose productivity, you start to lose yourself, that you don't even know that you have the power to create. You start to lose focus. And in anxiety, let me tell you another thing that happened. So we went for a girls' hangout. We went for a picnic, and I got drinks and I got water, but the water was not enough. And it was like we went to a forest, not like a forest, but a garden where we wouldn't get water easily. So one lady came there and she was very anxious. She said, there's no water. I said, there is water, just not enough. We have other drinks and everything. And then she's like, ah, let me have one. Let me have that water. She drank it. I'm like, is this the only water we would have? And I saw that she was anxious. You know what I did? I went into my car. I drove down I drove down to a place where there was water, and I bought enough water. When I brought the water, and then she saw how plenty the bottles were, guess what? She didn't drink water till we finished our program. She was just anxious, just for the knowledge of, oh, what if I'm thirsty? Where are we going to get water from? What if I'm thirsty? And I'm like, this, you can have this drink. You don't have, it's not just, she said, no, what will happen if I'm really thirsty? When I saw that she was anxious, I said, you know what, Grace, go get water for this babe so that she's not anxious and she can focus on enjoying herself. We finished our paintings. We went kayaking. We did everything, all the activities we did, and I was just watching her to see if she was going to grab another bottle of water. Until we finished that thing, she didn't grab any bottle of water. It was just the mindset of no water here. She got really anxious. And it's what anxiety does to you. There's this rush of fear, there's this rush of adrenaline, there's this rush of, oh, that's exactly what the mindset of scarcity. That's what it does. While the people that people with an abundance mindset, they are unperturbed. They are unperturbed. Like you cannot push them into anxiety or a state where they are all chaos, they are all panicking and all of that. You can't get that from them because they just understand that there's enough to go round. And if there's none now, where can I get where can I get from? Right? So with this mindset, instead of them to be anxious and fearful, they just flow and then they just, move on with their lives without stress. And when you're able to be in that state, you are more productive, because when we were in that state, I realized that she couldn't even paint. She was just panicking and everything until I got the water. So while the fact that she was seeing the water not very far from her, she started painting and started enjoying herself. And then when we finished the program, and I called her and I said, how come you didn't drink water again? She started laughing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to learn. So, what I would finally say from my end is embracing challenges. Challenges, what we call challenges, is one thing that would put us in a place where we would panic and be like, oh my goodness, if I had money, I would have been able to do that. Oh no, this is a problem. This is what can I do? This is a challenge, and we're all over the place panicking. But if we see a challenge as an opportunity to take us from where we are to where we should be, we would embrace it and tap into the opportunity that stares us in the face as a challenge. So my last point is definitely us embracing challenges because it is an opportunity for us to unravel some mysteries that can help us, you know, um, get what we want. That's what I would say. What do you think
And
about that?
that is so true about the whole anxiety thing. Like I remember when in the beginning when I moved to China, and I had to manage finances around, right, for whatever money was coming in, and I had to pay out and all of that. And I would hold on to it in the beginning with this fear of what if, what if the money gets finished and more money cannot come into China, and that would give me anxiety, and I would delay the payments and I would delay doing things. But now it's the other way around. Like if I have to get something, I'll pay it immediately. Like I won't delay things. Oh, we need another computer. Okay, get it immediately. Like we need to do this, get it done immediately. There's no delay, right? There's no delay in it. I no longer feel that anxiety about where's the money going to come from. It's more like get it done. It'll show up anyways, right? Get it done. It'll show up anyways. And that's that. Now I'm going faster and faster and faster and faster because I know I'm taking the intention. I move forward. The universe will provide. The universe will provide. You know. You see.
Absolutely. It's so sweet to know. Absolutely. What you just said, the universe will provide. I think we should have that somewhere in our room. The universe will provide. The universe will
Yeah.
provide. I love it.
Yeah. The universe has my back, right? A lot of the motivational speakers, the universe has my back. This is going to work out. I mean, I came China not knowing what's going to happen. I came here during COVID, right? Everyone said, are you mad? Are you crazy? Why are you going there? All of that. I said, I'm going, whatever. Accept challenges, what you said. There was a challenge coming China. While the world is open, China's still shut, right? Every 48 hours, I have to go for PCR test, right? Not knowing the language, finding an apartment all over again, doing everything from ground zero up, you know, it was a challenge, but I kept facing it, facing it, facing it, facing it, facing it, figuring it out. And every day I have more challenges, right? Just when you think, oh, this is where I've reached. Oh, no, but now I have a 10-time bigger challenge in front of me. It's already come, right? It's already there now. I've been told now this is what I have to do. And I'm like, let's go for it. Let's go for it. I need to get a bigger office. I need to hire more people. Now, if I have a lack mindset, like, oh my God, so many salaries, blah, 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 blah. No, the universe will take care of all of that. In fact, I'm going faster. We need one, get two people. Get two people for the same job. I want things speed up. I want to speed things because I know now is I'm in the flow, I'm in the momentum. Now it's like, let's do this, you know. I don't want to think so much. Let's keep going, keep going, keep going. So I love that part about embracing challenges. Because for me, coming to China already was the challenge. And it was like, I'm all in. I took that decision. I'm all in. I'm going in. I'll do what nobody wants to do, mostly at my age, right? People come when they're in their 20s and stuff. I came in my 40s, right? People are like, are you mad? You're going now at this age to China? You should have gone when you were in your 20s, you know? And I'm like, no, I'm going and doing what nobody else wants to do. That's the challenge. And I did. And I'm glad I did. So I think we've
Love it.
spoken quite a lot on cultivating a abundant mindset. I know there's so many more things we could have added, but I think these are 4 or 5 of them that can be practiced practically. And if you really practice these practically, I know Grace and I do, and we've seen how our lives have changed, how we've transformed. You know, we've been on a journey, both of us. We've known each other for 4 years now, so we've seen how we also at times were falling into that lack mindset, and but now we have made that holy shift, and we're there already. Yeah, we're already there. So, any last words, Grace, before we call it a day?
Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask you what your aha is. But for me, my aha is knowing that when a challenge comes, it's an eye opener for something great to come for me. So that's my aha. So for you, what's your aha so that we can wrap up?
Okay. For me, like I said, the universe provides. No matter what happens, the universe provides, right? It always provides.
That's another one for me too.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you that will watch, who watched us live, do leave us comments, or if you have any questions, share this video with others. If you're not following us, please press the subscribe button. We're always doing these lives every Sunday, 12 um, a.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. And Nigeria, what time is it usually, Grace?
It's 12 p.m. EST, and then 5 p.m. West African time. And what time is
Yeah.
that in China?
Oh, China is 12 a.m. Sorry, I got it all wrong. It's 12 a.m.
Okay.
my time here in China. So,
Okay.
like I said, follow us, share this with as many people as possible. And if you had an aha moment, do put it in the comments so that we also know that you've had that aha moment. And thank you so much for watching this. And thank you, Grace, once again. It was a beautiful conversation. I will see you again next Sunday. And bye-bye to everyone in our audience. Have a abundant mindset.
Yes, the universe always provides. Bye.